A few days ago, I uploaded a video expressing my thoughts and concerns regarding the recently announced Spyro Reignited trilogy. While I knew that taking advantage of this topic while it's still fresh and relevant would probably yield some extra exposure, apparently the YouTube algorithm decided that I looked cute today, or something, and it gave me a shit ton more views and engagement than I ever expected. So I figured I might as well take advantage of this, keep this train rolling, and see where it takes me. I'm also trying to experiment with different video formats to see what sticks, measure viewer feedback, and also to see what kinds of things make for the most interesting and engaging videos. I've already gotten some comments regarding the editing and writing for the last video, and I promise I'm keeping you guys in mind for this one. Moving on with the topic at hand, these are my personal top 10 picks from the original Spyro the Dragon PlayStation 1 soundtrack. I'm just doing the first game for now, and I'll continue to the other two depending on the reception of this video and possibly even the remasters as well once those come around. While I absolutely love all three of the game's soundtracks and each and every song from them to some degree, I obviously had to put some things lower than others, and in my opinion, not every song in this game is everything it could have been. This list is entirely subjective and based in opinion, so if you're going to disagree with me, that's fine, but I'm gonna be a smartass and say you're only allowed to disagree with 2 song choices. But I'd absolutely love to hear why in the comments. So here are my top 10 favorite tracks from the Spyro 1 soundtrack. This track is just fun, happy, upbeat. It's great for the first flight level in the game. There isn't too much to be said about it, but I do like the bass. It supports the song well. Right off the bat, this song stands out, mostly due to that groovy bass thing. It's catchy, and it uses a lot of the game's leitmotifs, that means reused melodies, a lot more effectively than most other tracks in the soundtrack. It's also one of the few tracks in this game that's so catchy that 3 weeks from now you're just going to be going in your head, what the fuck is that from? This track is a reprise of Dark Hollow's theme, a gimmick that this game does several times. It's the most upbeat and energetic version, which I find kind of ironic because the level it plays on is actually sort of boring, both visually and mechanically. I'd personally swap the song with Clifftown's level if I could, and ultimately the climax is really what sells this version of the song. Unsurprisingly, the song meant to represent the game as a whole makes it into the top 10. It has a lot of extra flourishes and embellishments that really highlight and showcase the leitmotifs, which reference all the various other songs used throughout the game, or are those songs referencing this? Can't tell. The best part of this track is the electric guitar for sure, and despite the fact that this track relies very heavily on the game's leitmotifs without too much in the way of original melody, it presents them and meshes them very well. Starting here is where the real shiners are, although hilariously enough, I don't think this track fits the level at all. It's awfully bouncy and fun for a final boss level, but nonetheless it has great momentum. I love the detuning guitar effect, and it's also a sort of half remake of the track Toasty. Atmospheric dissonance aside, it is a great track. I don't think anyone's surprised at this one being here, especially considering how this exact track is used in all 3 games without any modification. It's also another reprise of the Dark Hollow theme, but there's something about the relative compositional simplicity in this version that I just love. It's the steady tempo with the offbeat synth, the low instrument count. Less really is more with this track. It's also probably the most catchy and earwormy track in the whole game. This track is the kind that comes right out of the gate headbanging and pulls you along without stopping, yanking you right off the boarding platform and just going. It also borrows a lot of leitmotifs, but it speeds them up and mixes them together creatively in ways that keep them fresh, which is something that many of the game's tracks fail to achieve. My favorite part for sure is that piano. Most of this track is really slow and boring because it comes in trying to sound like a dramatic boss entrance or something. I really don't know why, because none of the other stages in this game really do this, not even Gnasty's version of it, the final boss of the game. And it's just not a very interesting thing in general. So then why is this song so high up on the list? This climax is an absolute banger, and it's probably also my favorite instance where this leitmotif is used. It's unique in that it's more down-tempo and steady than most of the other tracks in the game, and it's got a bit of like that swing to it, kind of. I actually had this up in the first place spot for most of the time I was preparing this list, but it's the fact that the good part is such a small section of the song that ended up pushing it down off the top spot. Remember all the reasons I said Crystal Flight was good? Well, this track just takes all those same components and does them even better. This is the kind of track that screams, I'm on an adventure, saving the world, and I'm having a damn good time doing it. It's a wonderfully energetic and fun song, and I just wish that we're on a normal stage instead of a speedway. This list was actually really hard. I spent a ton of time rearranging entries, debating where to put things, changing my mind about everything, whether I loved it, didn't care for it. I love the soundtrack to bits, and it's one of the most standout parts of the game, and one of the reasons that the game sticks in our memories so profoundly, but if there's one thing I've realized from doing this, it's just how much better the second and third games really are. This game's soundtrack had a huge over-reliance on leitmotifs and shared instrumentation between songs. It stuck to its own rules a little too closely, and it's really hard to order things on any measure of quality because, to be completely honest, it all does sound kinda samey. It definitely has character and style in spades, but it didn't take until later for Copeland to really perfect the craft and utilize this style for everything that it could provide. So I hope you guys like this enough to stick around for another installment on Spyro 2. If you'd like to see the entire list, including the things that didn't make it into the video, please direct your eyes to the description below. Keep in mind that it was incredibly decisive, especially towards the bottom half, and I'd probably rearrange absolutely everything if I made this list again. It's hard. As always, thanks for watching. Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts, criticisms, complaints, counter-arguments, or even if you just want to tell me a joke or something. I don't know. I want my videos to be as entertaining as possible, so your feedback matters. I'll see you guys next time.